You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Right now at 7, a class in Quapaw is looking to preserve the tribe's language. Also, traffic is forced to stop after Barton County authorities discover an explosive device during a routine traffic stop.
And overall, we're looking at a clear, decently warm day today, looking good.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney. 7 o'clock on this Wednesday morning.
Yes, and it's going to be a great day ahead of us. I mean, the sunrise, if you haven't seen it already, out in Joplin is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But the Quapaw.
Mary Jacobs, the instructor of the Quapaw language class, is starting her class off by teaching pronunciation.
So like instead of
Well, the Quapaw Nation is teaching some language classes for the tribe to preserve their language. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has the details.
Mary Jacobs, the instructor of the Quapaw language class, is starting her class off by teaching pronunciation.
So like instead of E being E, it would be an I.
She hopes through her teaching this language, more members of the tribe will be able to express themselves in the language, especially during ceremonies and prayer.
Our children, as they grow up in this language, that they'll be able to speak it as they walk through the door, and that would be their first instinct. Instead of saying hello, they would say "Hoay."
To be able to speak with fellow tribal members, or even people who are not tribal in Quapaw, just because it feels really empowering.
Taya Deirdroff, a student of the Quapaw language class, says learning the language helps preserve the culture.
It's the ultimate vessel of our culture. I mean, you know, things come and go, all the things around you will eventually deteriorate, but as long as, I mean, the oral tradition is like one of the oldest things in human history.
It's one of the things that cannot be taken away.
One of her goals of teaching this language class, she wants the language to be passed down to future generations and says that learning the language can help younger generations connect with their culture.
Obviously, I'm touched by it, but to hear my children's talk in the language is absolutely amazing.
The Quapaw Language Department will be offering both online and in-person Quapaw language classes. Reporting in Quapaw, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The Quapaw is considered a dormant language, so no one speaks it fluently. One of the goals of the classes is to build towards fluency.
That is really just awesome. I love that. Now, you're talking about the sunrise earlier, and we've got it out there, 7th and Rangeline, gorgeous sunrise. You can see it anywhere in the 4 states because it is clear skies all around, looking really great today. Now, current conditions in the mid-50s, clear skies again all day long, but visibility is limited, especially on those back roads anywhere in the lower areas. So we're looking at Kansas and Oklahoma, mostly seeing the dense fog, less than half a mile visibility in some areas. Lamar, Girard, Parsons, all the way north of Yates Center, south into Nowata, Welsh, Veneta, Miami, Oswego. Definitely dealing with some fog this morning. I know when I was driving in, it was dense. It's dangerous, especially in those back roads, little critters. Just be careful out there. It does clear out before it isolates down to just a couple of counties out in Kansas and Oklahoma by about 10 a.m., but clears out really quickly after that. So outside of that, today is going to be fantastic. Clear skies looking good. Temperatures remain mild by 10 a.m., mid-60s. By 1 p.m., mid-70s with our high in the upper 70s and even reaching about 80 degrees in some areas. Overall, nice, clear day. We do get a little rain coming up Friday afternoon, and it's actually due to Hurricane Helene, which is making landfall Thursday afternoon on the coast of Florida. So how does it make it into our area? Well, I'll talk about that coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon. Well, the state of Missouri carries out the execution of Marcellus Williams by lethal injection last night. The execution came shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a request from Williams' attorney to delay. Now, Williams had maintained his innocence in the 1998 stabbing death of Felicia Gale in St. Louis. He was pronounced dead at 6:10 yesterday evening. Now, earlier efforts to halt the execution were denied by the Missouri Supreme Court and Republican Governor Mike Parson. Dozens gathered at the Missouri State Capitol Rotunda to protest the evening's execution.
How do we teach that killing is wrong by killing? I'm a volunteer at the Jefferson City Correction Center, the prison, and the men I know out there are human beings. Killing them as a result of things they've done in the past, they don't deserve that. We're better than that as a state.
The Marcellus Williams execution is the third in Missouri this year and among 5 taking place nationwide across a 7-day span. Well, Barton County, Missouri deputies discovered a suspicious device during a traffic stop. It happened around 3 yesterday afternoon. Now, authorities closed traffic in the area for about 3.5 hours. Now, the Springfield Fire Department bomb squad inspected the device and discovered it was, in fact, an explosive device. Now, they rendered the device safe and transported it to their facility. One man is in custody and formal charges are pending. No one was injured. And don't forget to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports. You can download the KOAM News app. It's, of course, available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, it's an exciting time here at KOAM. For months now, our crew has been working behind the scenes preparing to bring you a whole new way to receive the 4 states' #1 news station. Now, it's our brand new 24-hour streaming service, the KOAM Plus app. And who better to introduce it than our own streaming anchor, Jordan Keys.
I am here in the KOAM Plus Digital Center, where every day we'll be working to share with you live news updates, breaking news, and weather forecasts from the Skywatch weather team. This is my workspace and where a lot of that content starts, and it's all designed to make sure that you can stay up to date with the news and weather in a different, easy way. So what can you get from KOAM Plus? Well, you can get and stay informed. We've overhauled our streaming efforts to bring you top-of-the-hour live updates, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. The free app is the best way to get the news that matters to you on your time 24/7. In addition to streaming our regular morning and evening newscasts for free, you'll get live updates throughout the day with the most up-to-date information on stories that matter to you. The new look of KOAM Plus also has a graphic with live radar information and forecasts for cities around the 4 states anytime you turn it on. You can also see updated headlines of the day scrolling below. One of my favorite parts of the app is the on-demand content. All our videos live here, and you can watch past special reports, in-depth interviews, and exclusive content you can't get anywhere else. And if you don't have a connected TV, don't worry. You can always watch the stream on KOAM Plus anytime. KOAM Plus powers the stream on the KOAM News Now app and on KOAMNewsNow.com. I'm Jordan Keys, KOAM News Now.
Well, you'll be able to watch the new streaming player on all KOAM digital platforms. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Wendy Powell joins us for Wildcat Wednesday for some tips for forage sampling. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Webb City for Paint the Town Red. Well, welcome back. Wendy Powell from the Kansas State Research and Extension Office is with us this morning with a few tips and techniques when it comes to forage sampling. So
yes.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. So for those who might not know, talk to me about what forage is and how it can help animals.
Yeah, so essentially forage is hay products for the most part. Or during the growing season, it's going to be that grass that's growing or legumes. It doesn't have to be just grass. So today what I wanted to talk about was how we utilize those forage nutrition amounts, because each different grass or legume has a different amount of nutrition, just kind of like with apples and oranges. We need all of it. And so here I've got an example of I've got a Sudan grass hay over here that we've got sampled. And I brought cows with me today. They're my favorite animal.
Yes.
So I have Bossy over here, who has a few needs over here, and I have Nellie, who has a calf here in front of her.
Yes,
and so her needs are a little bit higher. So just like with humans, whenever you're milking, lactating, then there's more nutrient needs there. So here I have a high quality hay, and over here I have a hay product that I don't have tested.
Right.
So how much does this cow need?
Yes, sure.
And how much is it going to cost me to feed her? Well, whenever I break all of these numbers down, I have to know my cow's size and her gestation phase.
Sure.
So just like with humans, cows are trimesters, 9 months. And so this cow here, if we feed her the Sudan grass, her protein is going to be met, but not her energy needs.
Oh, how interesting.
So then we're going to have to, cows flip bunks over all the time.
Yes, they do.
Then we need to supplement this hay product.
Okay.
So that's a whole nother set of math skills.
And talk to me just briefly about how you go about sampling the forage to determine, that they have the right levels of proteins and, meeting the cattle's energy levels as well.
Yeah, it's pretty simple to pull forage samples. So when we're looking at a round bale, most of the time they're going to be sitting on their rounded side. And so you're just going to take a core sample available at any of our extension offices. Take a core sample, go through the rounded side of the hay bale. And you're going to pull that out. Sample 10% of your hay lot. So it's going to be several bales.
Sure.
You put that in a bag and you bring it to an extension office, and we'll help you get that sent to the lab to determine the protein, energy, all the different nutrient needs.
Absolutely. And now you have an event coming up, kind of in conjunction with forage sampling. Talk to me briefly about that.
Yeah, we're going to do a ration roundup on October 15th. We're going to start registration at 8:30 in the morning. So essentially what we're doing is talking about how do we come up with the supplement that is least cost, that meets the needs of each cow, and how do we get that feed from the co-op or the feed store into the bunk at least cost. So we're going to have some equipment demonstrations, and it's going to be a really great program.
Well, fantastic. Well, Wendy, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We'll, of course, have this information on our website later on this morning, KOAMnewsnow.com. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
Well, we're starting the morning off in the mid-50s, taking a look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Looking pretty good right now, but we still are dealing with some fog in some areas, especially in Kansas and Oklahoma. But taking a look out on 7th Range Line, you can see that sunrise is just gorgeous. Clear skies all morning long. We don't have any clouds or rain in the forecast for the next couple of days. Looking good. Now, starting our morning off again in the mid-50s, clear skies but foggy, and that fog remains until about 9 to 10 a.m. In some areas, could see less than half a mile visibility. But when we get into the afternoon hours, it clears out pretty quickly, and we have temperatures in the upper 70s with a light northerly breeze. Temperatures getting up to about 78, 79. Now, by 7 p.m., already dropping down to the low 70s, and then 8 p.m. already in the 60s, and then we just continue to drop down even cooler than that, getting down to 62 by closer to midnight. Overnight lows down about 51, 52 degrees. Cool night. Now we also have a warm up in the forecast. This is going to be a delayed warm up because we've got a couple of interactions with this low pressure system, but after that, this ridge moves over our area and builds high pressure, giving us some warmer air later on this weekend. But like I said, we've got some interaction with the low pressure. So this low pressure is already existing. It's just sitting there in the over Arkansas, eastern Tennessee, Mississippi, and then we've got Hurricane Helene makes landfall Thursday evening as a Category 3, so a pretty strong hurricane with winds up to 120, maybe even 150 miles per hour. Very strong winds. And normally with a hurricane like that, we would see it take a northeasterly path up the east coast and then eventually shifting off to the east. But because of this low pressure system, what we actually have is some interaction. We call it the Fujiwara effect, and this hurricane is gravitating towards that low. And what happens is it actually shifts off to the west, bringing us a few showers on the afternoon and Friday. So this is closer to about 2 to 3 p.m. Friday afternoon. You can start to see a few showers pushing in, at least on the Missouri counties, maybe not as far west as Kansas or Oklahoma, but we do get a few showers for most of the afternoon on Friday before it clears out. Now, eventually, the low that's already existing overtakes the hurricane, and then it'll continue to shift off to the east. And then we're just dealing with mostly cloudy skies as we move into Saturday. So we've got some rain in the forecast, but for the most part after that, we dry out. We're dealing with mostly sunny skies, maybe a couple clouds here and there, and temperatures, like I said, warming up over the weekend through Monday, getting up to about 82 before cooling back down to average or slightly below. But for the next couple of days, temperatures in the upper 70s and clear skies. It's going to be a pretty good looking week until we see those showers. That's a look at your forecast, but we'll be back after this.
Well, welcome back. Well, fall is here, and the McCune, Kansas is all set to celebrate its 78th annual Fall Festival. Now, Jean Allen, one of the festival's organizers, is with us this morning to share what all the excitement is about for this year. Good morning to you. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Elise.
Happy to have you here. Well, so talk to me, for those who might not know, about what the McCune Fall Festival is, and that you're celebrating 78 years.
78 years the Lion Club has been doing
Yes.
it. It started out as rural town McCune days. But we took it over in 1946 and been running it since. It's a homecoming is what it is.
Yes.
Bringing everybody home. This is the school, the alumni, all of it. That's what it's for.
Fantastic. And so for those who might want to check it out, can you talk to me about some of the events? Now, I know the weekend starts off with the Bean Feed and Bluegrass Band. As I was just talking to you, I was there last year, and it's pots full of beans, and it's just incredible.
These are old big cast iron pots they used to use to make lard in a long time ago. We've gathered up, well, we're probably going to have 6 or 7 of them this year.
Yes.
So it's free to eat. Company starts at 5, goes to when the beans run out.
Right.
And the band plays from 6 to 7.
Fantastic. And now that's Friday night. And then you're having, a number of events on Saturday as well. Talk to me about some of those.
Saturday we'll have our big parade. The kids will start at 10:15 first from the park to go down on the street and then come back again so they can get with their mom and dads and out of the way. Then the bigger parade with the marching band and the cars and vehicles, they come at 10:30. They'll start. Fun. And then after that, after the parade gets done, then we'll have the games for the kids, and that's frog jumping contest, sack race, egg race, softball throw, football throw,
lots of great
whatever,
activities.
tractor pull, kiddie tractor pull, not the big tractor pull, little kids. And now while that's going on, we also have 2 inflatables on the back side over there so that the kids can jump on that and get some energy off. And about 11 o'clock, 11:30 or so, I will have McCune Lions Club, which is going to be having hamburgers and hot dogs over there to sell, and also the 4-H, which will be in the community building just on the north end of the street. We'll be having their whatever, I don't know, I'm not sure what they're feeding you, but it's going to be there.
Oh, fantastic. Be sure to check it out then. And then finally on Sunday, a few more events going on as well.
It's church service.
Sure, yes.
And they'll have that at the community building, and also one of the churches is going to be have the dinner after that. You can carry it out. I forgot to mention that the alumni on Saturday has their meeting at 5 at the community center, and they're meeting after the dinner, then the meeting after that.
Well, fantastic. Sounds like a weekend full of fun.
It's full.
Super exciting. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you this morning for having me.
Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Noe. Now, search and rescue crews in Berry County, Missouri respond to an alert of 2 adults lost in part of the Mark Twain National Forest. The alert came in just after 1 yesterday morning. Search and rescue from Central Crossing Fire Protection District responded with equipment and a search and rescue canine to the Piney Creek Wilderness area of the park. The crews found the pair okay at around 5:40 yesterday morning. Well, a major piece of road work appears to be nearing the finish line. Crews have been busy widening Connecticut Avenue in Joplin from 2 lanes to 5 with walking paths on both sides from 32nd to 38th Street. Now, the project stems from the passage of the capital improvement sales tax passed by voters in 2004 and renewed in 2014 and this year. Well, completion of the project is expected by mid-November. Teachers at Joplin's McKinley Elementary School will find it a little easier to buy school supplies thanks to a donation. Now the school gets a $3,000 check from the Subaru Loves Learning Initiative, courtesy of Frank Fletcher Subaru. Now the money will be shared among teachers to spend on supplies from select vendors associated with the program.
Subaru in general is just really big on community work, so we just want to be as much involved with our community as possible, and this is another way to do it.
Another $3,000 gift will go toward a software system in place at McKinley that helps staff and students stay safe during arrival and departure times. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, right? Well, that's what 12 students were making and selling at the Girard Farmers Market yesterday afternoon. Now, the students are part of an entrepreneurship program that started with lessons about the process of getting a bank loan and ends with hopefully a profit for each of them at their own lemonade stand.
The money that they make today for Lemonade Day is going to go to pay back their loan. So we walked them through what it means to take out a loan through a bank, and they each took $25 loans out. So they'll go back and they'll pay that back to the bank, and then everything else that they get is theirs.
Well, Lemonade Day is a program that more than 1.5 million children in 3 countries have participated in. The profit generated by Lemonade Day is more than $270 million. Now here's
Well, temperatures today getting up to the upper 70s, about 78, 79 degrees. It's going to be clear all day long after the fog rolls out around 9 or 10. Then we're having a pretty good day, slightly warmer than we've seen yesterday or the day before, but overall not so bad. By 7 p.m. getting down to lower 70s, by 8 p.m. already in the 60s. And then by midnight, we're down to about 60, 61 degrees. Our overnight low, though, dropping down to about 51 degrees for about 7 a.m. On Thursday. So we start pretty cool on Thursday, and then we start to see a warming trend because of a ridge that's forming over the area, building high pressure, and it's going to continue to build that high pressure and warm air in our area through most of the weekend. Now we do have a little interaction with Hurricane Helene as well. It makes the landfall as a Category 3, up to 120, maybe more winds, mile per hour winds as it makes landfall, but it interacts with a low pressure that's already positioned in Arkansas, Mississippi, and eastern Tennessee. As that pushes in, you can start to see the interaction where this low pressure system that's already existing pulls Hurricane Helene out to the west and actually brings us some rain showers early Friday afternoon around 3 to 4 p.m. Not heavy rain, and it doesn't last long, but we do get a few rain chances, and then that warm up continues through the weekend.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, Florida braces for impact as Hurricane Helene makes its way towards the state's western coastline. Now, evacuation warnings are in effect as Helene is predicted to hit as a large, dangerous hurricane. Fox News' Kevin Uretsky reports.
If you're in an evacuation area, we want you to leave.
Tropical Storm Helene is forecast to become a dangerous hurricane before making landfall in Florida Thursday. The clock is ticking for Floridians to prepare or get to safer ground.
This is a very strong, very serious storm, and the storm surge is really something we haven't seen in this area forever.
On top of a life-threatening storm surge of up to 15 feet in the Big Bend region, Helene is expected to bring damaging winds and heavy rainfall.
You've got the rest of the day today and all day tomorrow. So as long as people are where they need to be by the end of the day, and we recommend if you're going to evacuate, don't wait until it's dark.
Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for 61 of Florida's 67 counties. He said at least 3,000 members of Florida's National Guard are ready, as well as the Florida State Guard. Extra linemen are on the way, and the state has hundreds of Starlinks to deploy in case internet access is lost.
We protect life and limb and then restore the services with both the power and any other services that are interrupted to get people back to normal. So we obviously hope for as small of interruption as possible, but we got to prepare for a big one.
Other states in the southeast are also under hurricane warnings. Helene's projected path runs right through Georgia and Tennessee later this week. Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency Tuesday. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A miraculous reunion as a cat makes an 800-mile journey home. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Webb City ahead of Paint the Town Red. In Consumer Watch this morning, consumer confidence slipped to a 3-month low in September. Economists were forecasting a rise in the index. Now, this marks the sharpest drop in more than 3 years, all as Americans grow increasingly concerned about economic conditions, particularly the labor market. Now, the Conference Board reported Tuesday its consumer confidence index fell this month to 98.7, down from an upwardly revised August reading of 105.6. Well, the union representing striking Boeing workers says the company's latest offer is not good enough. The company issued its, quote, final offer, which included a 30% pay raise over 4 years. Now, the union says many members felt the deal was inadequate, and they believe Boeing's decision to bypass the union was disrespectful. The union also says the 30% increase does not make up for minimal wage raises in the past. And a potential dock worker strike could lead to a fruit shortage at some grocery stores. 45,000 dock workers are threatening to strike as they seek a new contract by October 1st. A strike could stall distributions at major American ports that supply popular fruits, which could result in empty produce sections or extreme price hikes. Now, the union is demanding an 80% pay increase over the next 6 years, as well as more restrictive language on automation in the workplace. While some regions of the country are praying for rain, others are hoping for an end to the frequent showers. But according to a new study, it's all part of a growing trend of extreme weather events that researchers call the new norm. Fox News' Ted Lindner takes a closer look at the impacts of the nation's changing climates, especially when it comes to a vital cash crop many rely on.
While weather can be unpredictable, new research from The Ohio State University is spelling out a gloomy forecast for the future.
Our study was looking at precipitation extremes, so either 3-month droughts or 3-month wet periods, what we call pluvials, to see if there have been trends over the last, looking back roughly 1,000 years through the present.
From their findings, scientists say the severe droughts that impact the Southwest and the more intense rainstorms that swamp the Northeast are now the new modern norms millions should come to expect. Adding these patterns may only become worse in the future. Meanwhile, the research indicates that states in the middle of the country should brace for a mixture of extremes.
So in general, the summer droughts are becoming drier. The winter pluvials are becoming wetter.
While the altered climates are impacting many industries,
wetter wets and drier dries is particularly challenging for farmers.
It's leading teams at Bayer Crop Science to develop a new, stronger, and shorter type of corn to withstand heavy winds and rely on less water.
That's keeping us a lot less chance of green snap or lodging, especially late season.
According to the Department of Agriculture, America is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of corn in the world. The short corn is being tested on roughly 35,000 acres in the Midwest. Bayer hopes to expand production of the crop in 2027. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Well, taking a look at downtown Pittsburgh, mostly clear skies, looking good. Traffic starting to flow as we get into the morning hours on Wednesday. Now, overall, we're going to stay dry and clear skies for the next couple of days. Not a lot going on, pretty mild temperatures as well, but we start off the morning with some dense fog in some areas out in Kansas and Oklahoma. Temperatures in the mid-50s, so a cool start to this Wednesday morning, but we warm up pretty quickly up to upper 70s. Now, this isn't necessarily warm, this is just about average, but it's going to feel great today. Sunny skies and a nice northerly breeze. We get down to lower 70s by 7 p.m. and by 8 p.m. already in the 60s. Our overnight low dropping down to low 50s, so about 50, 51 degrees for most of us, but even some areas reaching down as low as 49 degrees. Now, it's a fluke we got those cooler temperatures, and then we've got a warm up in the forecast, and we can thank this ridge as it forms over our area later this weekend. So until then, temperatures remain mostly mild today and tomorrow and even Friday in the mid to upper 70s. Now, Friday we also have some rain showers, and actually those rain showers are stemming from Hurricane Helene. It makes landfall Thursday off the coast of the Florida Panhandle as a Category 3 hurricane with winds up to 120, maybe even 150 miles per hour. Very strong hurricane. Typically what happens is this hurricane will move up the north east coast as it shifts off to the east before moving it back out to the ocean. But what we have is a low pressure that's already existing out in Arkansas, Mississippi, and western Tennessee. Now, because that low pressure is already positioned there, it actually pulls Hurricane Helene closer to it. This is what we call the Fujiwara effect. And it's a rare phenomenon, does not happen often, but these two low pressures actually gravitate towards each other, and instead of this hurricane moving northeast, it's actually going to shift off to the east. So what we see is as they gravitate towards each other, they kind of rotate around each other, which is how we get a few of those showers early afternoon on Friday, about 3 to 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and those only continue for a couple of hours all the way until about 7, 8 p.m. Not heavy rainfall because we're really only getting just the very edge of this tropical storm as it passes, and then the low pressure that was already existing overtakes Hurricane Helene, and then it shifts off to the east again, and we're just left with some mostly cloudy skies as we move into Saturday morning. So it's a rare phenomenon. Normally we wouldn't see the hurricane that's making landfall in Florida make it all the way over to the Midwest. That's very rare and very cool, in fact. But outside of that, we go back to just our normal warm up from the ridge, getting up to the low 80s by Monday, and then dropping back down next week into the mid to upper 70s. So for the next week and a half, our temperatures remain rather mild. Outside of the fluke of rain showers on Friday, we're not seeing much else. Sunny skies and mild temperatures. That's a look at your forecast, and we'll be back after this.
Well, a family is reunited with their cat after it had escaped in Yellowstone National Park.
Brady Halbleib shares the emotional reunion.
I just hear this yowling. It was July 1st when Alex Bitts stopped right here on her way into work after she heard what she calls a cat yowling.
Cats don't generally yowl like that unless there's something wrong.
She went down into this drainage ditch outside of Sutter Roseville Hospital to find this cat barely holding on to life.
It took a while for me to actually get the cat close enough to see it.
As an animal lover at heart, Alex did what she says was the right thing to do. So she DoorDashed canned cat food to work and brought a cup of fresh water during her break.
As soon as I opened that first can, he did poke his head up and he recognized the sound. So to me, that indicated that he was a pet.
The next day, Alex returned with more food and a dog kennel. She was able to get the cat inside, and she took it home, nurtured it for a few days before taking the cat to Placer SPCA.
It was the hardest thing we had to do.
1 month before, Suzanne and Ben Anguiano were camping in Yellowstone with their 2 cats. While transferring them from the truck to the camper, their cat Rainbow escaped, running off into the woods, and park rangers there didn't give them any encouraging news.
He goes, good luck. If your cat doesn't make it home tonight, good luck.
After searching for 5 days, they had to give up and return to their home in Salinas.
I felt like I was abandoning him.
Now here's where things get wild. After being surrendered to the SPCA, the cat was scanned for a microchip, revealing it was registered to Suzanne.
I still didn't believe it. I said, okay, you have to describe him to me, because it was so overwhelming that this could be true.
The theory is Rain hitched a ride knowingly or unknowingly with someone who happened to live in Roseville.
As God has placed all the little, as we look back,
signs,
all the signs,
yeah,
were there,
allowing the pieces to line up for Rain to be found by Alex.
Things lined up the way that they were supposed to, that it wasn't me necessarily, but somebody working through me.
That's unbelievable.
That is so awesome.
If I was left behind 800 miles away, I wouldn't even be able to make it home.
I mean,
it's crazy that cat was able to figure it out.
That is a very impressive cat.
Yeah,
instincts
absolutely.
are top tier.
There you go.
Well, we do have some nice weather in the forecast, which would be great for an 800-mile journey. But overall, temperatures remain pretty average in the upper 70s, so not so bad. Looking good for the next couple of days. And we'll be back with more news after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Barton County, Missouri deputies discovered a suspicious device during a traffic stop yesterday afternoon. Traffic was shut down for about 3.5 hours. Now, the Springfield Fire Department bomb squad inspected the device and discovered it was, in fact, an explosive device. They rendered the device safe and transported it to their facility. One man is in custody and formal charges are pending. Well, the state of Missouri carries out the execution of Marcellus Williams by lethal injection last night. The execution came shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a request from Williams' attorney to delay. Marcellus Williams' execution is the third in Missouri this year and among 5 taking place nationwide across 7 days. And teachers at Joplin's McKinley Elementary School will find it a little easier to buy school supplies thanks to a donation. Now the school gets a $3,000 check from the Subaru Loves Learning Initiative courtesy of Frank Fletcher Subaru. And the money will be shared among teachers to spend on supplies from select vendors associated with the program.
And we've also got a pretty good day today. Clear skies, temperatures getting up to the upper 70s and remains like that for most of the day and into the weekend. Now, currently temperatures are in the mid 50s. Good visibility, but in some of those back roads, you could see visibility less than half a mile until about 9 a.m. So watch out with the fog until early morning hours, but outside of that, it looks fantastic. Now you can see here the fog clears pretty early around 9 a.m. and then we're looking at a nice day, clear skies, warm temperatures, and that continues through the first half of the weekend.
All right, well, certainly a gorgeous day ahead. Yeah. Can't wait to go outside and check it out.
Oh, I know.
Well, a pair of Wisconsin firefighters worked together to successfully free an owl that got trapped in the front end of a vehicle after it was struck by a driver early Monday morning. Now, footage shows Green Bay Metro Fire Battalion Chief Chad Bronkhorst assisting animal control to carefully remove the bird.
Craig said that the bird was transported to the Green Bay Wildlife Sanctuary. Sounds like he's gonna make it, he told reporters.
Oh, good. Well, you know, it's pretty scary. I mean, I've almost hit owls before, you know, coming into work, believe it or not. And so it's great that they were able to rescue the guy, and owls are so cool.
They are cool. You know, I think in my entire life, I've probably only seen like 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not a lot.
No,
I mean,
I feel like it's a good amount, though. You never know.
There was that movie, Hoot, where they rescued the owls. I think about that every time I think about owls.
Anytime I think of an owl, I always think of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh.
There's an owl in Winnie the Pooh.
I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah,
and
you'll have
watch
to check it
It's
out.
been a while. I'm not gonna lie, it has been a while.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for letting us put the good in your morning, and we'll be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.